what's their opinion about the United States? Well, it turns out they're very antagonistic to U.S. policy, though they're in the main policies they're just part of, like the international economic policies. But what they object to is the fact that the United States has consistently opposed democracy, independent development, supporting corrupt, brutal regimes. They're naturally strongly opposed to the unilateral U.S. support for the Israeli military occupation, which is very harsh and brutal. It's now in its 35th year. Strongly oppose the U.S. sanctions against Iraq, which they understand perfectly well, and you know too, so I won't go into it, are devastating the population but strengthening Saddam Hussein.
And anyone who believes that we were attacked on 9/11 because of American support for Israel is fooling themselves and attempting to fool others. I repeat the question: what is the connection between the murder of 17 Indonesians last week in Bali, or the stoning of a Nigerian woman who's committed adultery, or the banning of polio vaccine by the imams of northern Nigeria because they think it's a UN-US plot, or any of these things, and the emancipation of the Palestinians from occupation? There's no connection at all. Mr. bin Laden does not believe in a Palestinian state. That's why he has almost no Palestinian supporters. He believes that Palestine should eventually become part of a greater caliphate that would be run by people like him. He's not anti-imperialist. He's for the restoration of a lost and barbarous empire. And I have to suspect, not in the case of this caller, I must say, but in the case of people who can't stay off Israel, that there's something suspect about their obsession with the Jewish question. I put it no higher.
Traditionally, the U.S. and Britain have been supporting radical Islam throughout the region. There are good reasons for that, and they continue to. The reasons are you can tell it from the internal documents, British and American internal documents. The reason is kind of a rational analysis. The real threat, they say, is the virus of secular nationalism. That's dangerous. Secular nationalism, say Nasser, for example, can lead to the possibility of efforts to try to take the resources of the region and use them for their own populations, rather than for the benefit of the West and the ruling, super-rich ruling families. So that's a real problem, and the only barrier to secular nationalism, to the virus of secular nationalism, as it's called, is radical Islamism. So the U.S. and Britain as well have been strongly supporting radical Islam for a long time and continue to. It's a little ironic when you hear them complaining about the Muslim Brotherhood, which by comparison is moderate Islam. And that remains true. Saudi Arabia, for example, is given free rein to crush demonstrations. No talk of no-fly zones. There was a day of rage called in Riyadh, but the police presence was so extensive that nobody could even show up. They're too intimidated. Same in Kuwait. These are rich oil states which have loyal dictators. So therefore, they're free to do anything they like.
But if I want to go and make war and don't kid about it, I'm perfectly willing to use force with these guys if they even threaten it with us. More than willing. Would rather welcome the chance, actually, to do it. I'm going to have a thin time doing it if my allies on the left are making excuses for Islamic jihad all the while and discrediting their own democracy and isolating themselves within civil society. The fact of the matter is that you either oppose religious dictatorship and its terrorist surrogates everywhere, without distinction, whether it's messianic settlers on the West Bank or Christian nutbags trying to teach us that we trod the earth the same time as the dinosaurs, or the forces of jihad. You either oppose this kind of thing root and branch, or you don't. And I'm sorry to say that the anti-war left has failed the test. It has made excuses for our totalitarian and theocratic enemies. It has said that Mr. bin Laden is the ventriloquist of long-forgotten Muslim grievances. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I'll tell you what the grievances are. The grievance of seeing an undraped female face. The grievance of having a Christian or a Jew or a non-believer living on your soil that you claim is Muslim soil. The horror of having lost the Islamic Caliphate, the empire you want back. These are not anti-imperialists. They're people who want back a lost empire. The people who blew up harmless partygoers in Bali because Australia had helped to liberate East Timor from Indonesian oppression, and East Timor is a Christian population and Indonesia is Muslim. High on the list of bin Laden's grievances, the outrage of our help for East Timor. Yes, they have grievances, yeah, but it's nothing to the grievance we have with them. And it should be we who they are afraid of. It should be our opinion that they are made to care about. We should make it known to them that we too have unalterable values, that yes, we do care about the Enlightenment, and we do care about the defense of our values and institutions under any government.
2 minutes.
Under any government, and that failing to say this is apologetics and possibly